Talk to them boys that sat on the benches, boy. I was in the game on 4 inches. Go put me in the game on 4 inches. Put me in the
What is up, SML? It is time for the greatest, the newest, the most innovative show on the SML network in the NFL, SML, CMM, CFM sphere. I am Primetime 000, joined by, let me just say this. When it was time to start up this show, I knew we were going to do rotating hosts, but I wanted to get one of the greatest content creators in SML history. So I had to call up the Mad Bomber. What's going on, dude?
Oh, not bad. Sorry you had to settle for me, but I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, man, I'm fired up. Obviously, 4th and inches. The goal on this show is, in my opinion, to have just a bunch of different segments and to make it entertaining. We've got some cool stuff, I think, that we're going to talk about. Obviously, what's going on in the SML, but other cool segments. I don't know. What's kind of your hopes with this?
I think obviously try and make it the best show we've got on the SML network and maybe CFM as a whole. I think this episode we're a little SML heavy, but we're just trying to get our feet under us here, and I think it's going to be a good show. Hopefully everybody kind of enjoys it.
Yeah, and obviously Primer, look out. We got some stuff for you too here towards the end. I was thinking, and I was watching last night. I had watched AJ playing, and I don't know if you've seen, but beats KP last play of the game on a post route. And I'm like, holy crap, AJ is back. AJ might be back. And then I look at their records, him and Filthy and some other dudes who maybe were looked at to be the next big thing. And we talk about next big thing all the time. What's going on, man? Is there a next big thing, Curse?
I don't know. I mean, it's tough to argue against it, right? So Faz was the next big thing. He had some success, and then now he's gone. And then it kind of went to AJ, and all of a sudden he just fell off, couldn't make the playoffs. It goes to Straw. We haven't heard from Straw in a while. He looks like he might be putting it together this season, but he disappeared. Then it was, Torque. He made the playoff run, gone. Filthy made a playoff run, gone. As much as I hate to say, there might be something to it. It seems like the proof is in the results. The next big thing doesn't generally turn out to be very good. And I saw earlier you even started to kind of put that on Bean earlier, and I think he was getting a little upset and worried about it because it really does seem to be a real thing.
Yeah, when you think about it, you don't get to pick to be the next big thing. It's one of those things that finds you. It's like becoming the Messiah, like you're chosen to be that. And unfortunately for Bean, I do think that he is the next big thing. And it's been a while for him. He's been in the league for a long time, but I think he's close actually to becoming the next big thing in the SML, because we'll talk about it later, but he's got a pretty good record against somebody, and he's beaten some good quality players. But yeah, I think the curse is real. We've seen it with AJ. We've seen it now with Straw. We've seen it with, I don't know if you recall, but Biz at one point was the next big thing, and they were calling Biz Sanity was the thing, and I don't know. I don't know if it gets in people's heads. I know Madden is a mental game, and people start tuning in, and maybe it's more mental than anything. I don't know.
I think kind of what it is you look at like AJ. So AJ comes in, he beats Faz, he's putting up big numbers, and then you label him the next big thing. Well, what's the first thing everybody does? How do I beat AJ? Yep. What's going on with it? What does he do? And everybody, I heard on all the podcasts, the SML guys study, guys pay attention. Not to mention, guys have been here forever. You're talking like years. It's not like somebody plays. You play somebody twice. I've played Doink probably 20 times. I've played you probably 30 times.
Yeah.
I mean, you play guys a lot, and when somebody gets that label of next big thing, everybody wants to beat them. So what do? They try to find out what they like to run, how to counter it, and if they continue to play that same style offense or defense, guys are going to pick it apart, and we see that time and time again. That's why I think if Bean is the real next big thing, he's been battle tested. He's been in the SML for a while, and guys aren't necessarily catching on, or he's adjusting. So maybe he is.
Bean has a shot of being the real next big thing. And speaking of kind of fighting a little bit, 7 seed. I was looking through Neon, and I'm sure you have too. I don't think either of us are in this spot. I think both of us are kind of in a spot where we don't have to worry about this. But that 7 seed race is intense. As we're looking around the SML, Who do you think is going to make the, be secured, make the playoffs, and who's out?
So I looked at the AFC, and I'll just start there. In the AFC, I had the Jaguars, the Ravens, and the Raiders. Those are the two teams. Jags 6-4, Ravens and Raiders 5-4. There's a couple teams below them by a game or so,
Mhm.
but I kind of focused on those three, and it stood out to me that Mike has the easiest route. But of the three, I would probably put Mike the lowest talent guy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't play you. He doesn't play QP. He doesn't play me. He doesn't play. I can't even say Tiny, but Tiny now is a formidable
He's
opponent.
a
I mean, you
threat.
can't take him lightly. Meanwhile, the Jaguars have you. They have Tiny. They have Dan. They have me. Raiders, you got Wine. You've got QP, D
Yeah.
Muse. You got you.
Yeesh.
He's got Doink. I mean, Ravens have the easiest schedule, but of the three, I would consider Mike probably the least talented. I think it's going to be the Jaguars though. He's already 6-4, so he's already got that sixth win. Um, I just feel like KP can probably put it together in the AFC.
Yeah, and KP's schedule isn't too easy either. He's got Colts, he's got Lions, he's got Tiny, Dan, you, Torque. It's going to be a photo finish, and that's why Mike FML is going to make the playoffs. And when's the last time Mike's made the playoffs?
Has Mike made the
Has
playoffs?
Mike made the playoffs?
I honestly don't know if he has. Um,
That
I
would
know
be
he was
crazy.
close one year, and he just needed to get like one win out of the last four,
Man,
and he ends up losing all four of them. So I don't know if he has been there, but I mean, he doesn't have an easy schedule. He's got Dump, he's got Dan,
it's tough.
Meats. Who knows what Meats he's gonna get? He has Bean talking about the next big thing.
Oh,
He's
he's
got
got a tough
Bean.
schedule.
Woods has kind of fallen off, so he definitely of the three has the easier schedule. I just don't know if he can put it together.
That is a tough schedule. We'll find out. NFC side of things, that's your conference. Knoll 4-4. Colt 45 is going to have 5 wins after this advance because of
He
force
may have
wins.
six. I heard Meats talking about he may have to give him a force win. So
Oh my
that could
God.
be 6 wins for him without playing 2 games. So it'll be he could end up with that 7.
Oh man. And Paulie's 4-4. Meats is 4-5. If Meats has to give a force win, he might as well go jump in that pool of water over there or in Baltimore because he's going to be out of the playoffs.
Yeah, just go ahead and take the bridge.
Yeah. Speaking of, and I mean, ever since Noel cracked his head on the concrete, he hasn't been the same. So I don't think that he's gonna make it. That might be between Paulie and Colt.
Yeah, I think it could. I've also got D-Muse on there at 3-5. He's playing really well. I just played him. It took a blocked field goal for a touchdown to beat him.
Wow.
He's got that new quarterback, Smart, that he's had for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Not the typical like 85 throw power guy that we're used to seeing him with, and he's playing really well. His schedule is also fairly decent. I mean, he's got Monty, who's fighting for the top pick right now. Noel, I don't know what to make of Noel because he's won games that he should have lost, and he's
Yeah,
lost
for
games
sure.
he should have won. So he's kind of up and down. He's got Tiny, he's got Gutta, he's got Matt, he's got Wine, um, and then he's got Noel again, Gilbert, and then finishes with Filthy. Not the toughest schedule. The tough part is kind of out of the way for him. He's already got both games with Doink gone. So I think Demius could sneak in there.
That's a good one, and that Saints team's really good. Somebody was, I forget who was showing me it. I think it was one of a Dom's allies. I think it was Bean actually. That's like my 5th Bean reference today. But he's got like 3 X Factor receiver or superstar better receivers, 3 superstar better corners, a tight end that's a superstar, quarterback is great.
99
Yeah,
halfback.
he's got a good team.
Yeah, very good team.
But one cool thing about our show, we have different segments. And do you want to introduce our next one?
Yeah, so the next one is 4th and 5. We kind of liked the idea of the map 5, but it seemed like the map 5 on Total Access was really heavy on top 5 teams. I mean, it started out where it was going to rotate, and it kind of settled on top 5 teams. We're going to try to do something similar to that. And for this first episode, we're going to do the top 5 moments of the SML cycle so far.
Ooh. Number 5, gotta be 5 different Super Bowl champions to start the cycle.
Yeah, I think that's maybe happened once since I've been in the SML. Usually it's, the same couple guys. And even if it is different winners, you always have the same matchups.
Yeah.
This cycle, it seems like it's almost every time a different two guys in there.
Yeah.
A couple guys have been back, but nobody's won it twice. 5 different Super Bowl winners is incredible. And you got Woods, you got Doink, you got Dump. Those guys haven't even won before, and they got their wins this cycle. So it's not only 5 different ones, but 3 original ones.
Yeah, it feels like at any given, and some people, they talk about, it's game driven, whatever is causing this. It's great for parity, and I think that's great for the league. What's number 4?
Number 4, for me, it was the Meats 7-win website. Meats puts a lot of stuff in chat, and most of it I just shake my head at. But this was probably one of the funnier things Meats did, and I've seen it pulled up by various guys during the season trying to track Colt and his 7 wins. So that was number 4 for me, was Meats 7-win website.
Yeah, and now he's gonna get 7 wins, and the website's down because Meats only paid for a month because Meats is broke.
And that might actually catapult this and move up into my top 4 for the.
That'll be awesome. Number 3, KJ Slander making the playoffs. It's always good to see when a guy who struggles makes it, and KJ's a guy great guy. He helped. If it wasn't for KJ, SML on PS5 would have been actually a pretty tough. A lot of guys don't know. He's probably responsible for like a quarter of the leagues having a PS5. For a guy who picks his plays slow, he sure does have a quick reaction to the add to cart button on Walmart and GameStop's website.
Yeah, I mean, half the SML might not be here. We might be looking at, a very different looking SML if it wasn't for KJ.
Yeah.
But at number 2, we'll kind of stay in Tennessee. I've got Tiny and the donations that we did for his kid and the controller, and hell, I don't know what he's going to buy. Half of Tennessee for $1,000. I mean,
yeah.
I thought that was cool. Everybody
cool.
talks about the community is the bigger thing than the game, and it's pretty cool to see when that actually kind of materializes right in front of you. It's easy to say it, but everybody actually put their money where their mouth was and made it. I thought a pretty cool thing for Tiny and his kid.
That was cool, and I'm pretty sure Tiny probably has a new Gucci watch too. But no, that was awesome. Probably one of my favorite moments just in SML history was just doing that, and just shows we have such a strong core of just people in the league. But
it's just a shame he spent it on an ebook.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know.
Yeah, he's on Madden School. And unfortunately, it wasn't the number 1 moment because F them kids. Woods was an Simbardi champion. Woods, I mean, in that Super Bowl run he had, I think he beat you in the championship round or something. And
he did. That's still under protest for the kick glitch. Other than that, I mean, it was a great run.
But
it's nice to see it because you never know when somebody as old as Woods is, going to take their last breath, and get a Simbardi before then was really good.
The fact that the league could always sign up and do the Make-A-Wish thing for Woods and help him win. I mean, no, but seriously, that was awesome for Woods. It's such just like pulse pounding game, like the one against you. He had one against AJ. I'm going off memory. I forget who else he beat.
Super Bowl against Dan.
The Dan game, he could have won the game on a field goal. It gets blocked, returned for a touchdown, and then he has to drive down, stay composed, and he drove down and got a field goal to win the game. I mean, that was one of the best Super Bowls ever in the SML, probably.
Yeah, it was really good. Definitely my number 1 moment.
Yeah. But what is a good SML show without narratives? And I love narratives probably more than anybody. I think people can say what they want about narratives and how true they are, true they aren't. We'll talk about that. And I think the purpose of this segment on the show is to debunk some or add some. And why not start off a show by adding narratives? What kind of narratives are you looking at?
I think it's kind of the elephant in the room is Dan can't beat Bean. Bean, that's his number. And I know it's, every time Dan loses, it's, I found something out. I'll tell you after the cycle.
Yeah.
What did he do as soon as he lost to Bean? Well, I learned some things. You learned you can't beat Bean. That's what he learned, because it doesn't matter playoffs. It doesn't matter regular season. He can't beat Bean. And at this point, I mean, everybody talks about these SML narratives, but there's a little bit of truth to them. And Dan can't beat Bean.
And this isn't just this cycle. Last cycle, and I was reminded of it in chat today, There was a game where Bean was like going to leave out of the state or something, and his last act in the SML of the cycle was to beat Dan in the playoffs, and then I got to force one in the AFC Championship game because his internet sucked. But like he beat Dan then, and then in the playoffs this year, and now again this regular season. It's it's a thing, and I think they play a similar style. They're not keen on throwing the ball deep a lot. They both play really good defense. They both they have similar styles, and I think Bean is the better stick skill guy, and Dan's a better situational guy. But Dan's stick skills have diminished so much, and I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but Bean's the better player now. He's Dan's kryptonite.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be, and we see it all the time. The SML's about matchups. I mean, you have guys that just can't beat certain players.
Yeah.
And guys that can't get over that hump. And Dan playing against Bean, that's just a matchup that does not work for him.
Yeah. And on top of that, I guess the next narrative would be, is the Big Five dead? You, me, Dan, Matt. Who would even be number 5? I don't even know if we have a number 5 anymore. Dump, maybe. I mean, QP. Oh, did I forget? Yeah, QP probably would be in there.
I'm sure that was completely accidental, right?
So, yeah. I don't know, man. Is it dead?
So I thought about this one. It depends. I think you have to call it dead. Matt kind of was the one that came up with the whole Big Five, and it was basically, when it comes down to the championship games, the 4 guys playing for it are going to be part of this group of 5. It's going to be those guys playing for it. And that's just not the case anymore. Now, you could argue that the same 5 have, maybe the higher winning records, or they're still winning, but it's not the Big Five as far as the end of the season and the playoffs. So I think you have to call the Big Five dead.
It's dead. And I think what we're going to see when the fire and the rubble and the smoke is cleared at the end of this cycle, it can only be decided after this cycle. The dynamic duo, there'll be 2 guys in the SML that reign supreme, and they'll have to have multi-Simbardis this cycle, and that'll put them above the rest. Everybody's got one right now. So I think there's going to have to be a dynamic duo that'll reign supreme. And the only way that doesn't happen is if one guy wins all of them the rest of the way here, and then you have just a king, I guess, of the SML. And I don't think we've ever had that before. So it'll be interesting. It's sad to see. The Big Five era was a fun era in the SML.
Yeah, I think we'll see what happens. Like, the other thing Matt brought up when he kind of came up with this Big Five was it's about longevity too. It's not, you do something right away and boom, you're Big Five. So we'll see moving to the next cycle and going forward if some of these guys, don't fall by the wayside again or get passed up by the Big Five. So I'll call it dead for now, but what happens after the season and moving forward, we'll see.
Are you thinking it's Easter time? We're going to have a resurrection already of the Big Five, possibly.
I think it's possible. I mean, you look at the top of the standings right now, and it's kind of looking like it, but it's regular season. And like I said, the Big Five kind of is supposed to be a postseason thing.
Yeah, we'll stay tuned. Bomber, this is going to be my favorite, I think, segment on the show. Why don't you tell us about, this is probably the hardest work segment as well.
Yeah, this one, so most of these, we can come up with a topic pretty quick, throw something down and do a little bit of research and talk about it. This took a little bit more and a little more collaboration, but we have our SML Ultimate Team cards. We ended up, the 4 of us sat down, tried to do all these ratings, knocked it out quick, but there's a lot goes into it. And so what we'll do for this episode, we've got mine and yours, kind of showing off the design, the ratings, all that. And then I think every episode we're planning on doing around 2.
Yep.
And then we'll eventually have released the entire league. So without any further ado, if you want to pull up those 2 cards. Yeah.
Let's start off with yours, the Mad Bomber card. And I'll kind of read off some of the highlights here. Superstar development. For those who aren't familiar with SML, there's normal, star, superstar, and X Factor. Everybody gets an ability regardless of their dev. The overall rating, and then the ratings you see there on the right. And obviously you had four guys who all kind of partaked in this. Me, you, AJ, and QP all helped kind of come up with these ratings. You're 87 overall. You're a superstar dev player. Your superstar ability was angry runs because on your streams you get fired up. That's my favorite part about the card, I think.
Yeah, I've heard occasionally I get fired up.
I don't know what they're talking about. And then it looks like 91 is your highest rating, defensive IQ is your highest rating, and 83 passing is your lowest rating. Well, how do you feel about your card, your ability, your dev, your ratings? How are you feeling?
I'm pretty happy with it. Superstar. I think I was star last year, so it's an improvement again. Kind of bumped back up. I was superstar before last year, bumped up to superstar this year. So happy with that. 83 passing though. I guess nobody saw Bean's article that Justin Fields was the #1 quarterback in the SML, according to his I guess 30-second metric.
Yeah.
But I actually would have probably lowered my pass defense because I feel like I get ate up on the pass. And then maybe bump that passing up just a little bit.
The 83 does seem low.
Yeah, pretty happy with the card though. I can't complain. Angry runs, I really don't understand it. I don't know. You keep saying I get angry on the stream. I don't see it, but
yeah.
But other than that, no, it's good.
That's awesome. And then my card. What do we got here? Prime card, 90 overall, superstar or no X Factor. I give myself that probably. Threat detector. Highest rating is game management for 96. Lowest rating rushing at 84. Threat detector, I think QP gave me that because whenever there's a mutiny in the league, I'm ready to stop it. What do you think about the card, I guess? Or maybe I'll share my thoughts. I don't know.
I thought threat detector was a good one. We went back and forth with that one, and I can't even remember the other one that we went over, but that one I thought was the best one. I thought the card's pretty good. Team building, I thought 87 was a little low.
Yeah.
Maybe the Colts this year haven't kind of turned into the super team you usually have, but I thought the team building was a little low. That would have been where I would have bumped you up.
Yeah, I thought the rushing was fine. I don't run a lot as much as I probably should. 84 was fine. One thing I would almost rather have had a lower defensive IQ rating and give me a freaking higher clutch rating. I know it's already high. It's probably one of the higher ones out there, 93, but give me like a 98. I don't know. Give me, I want a high game management and a high clutch rating, and I don't care about the other ones, honestly.
That's early in the Ultimate Team season, so we didn't go with the high ratings, I guess, because I think yours is maybe one of the higher ones, and you only got a 90 overall. But yeah, the rushing I thought was pretty right on actually. Got Jonathan Taylor, not really, tearing up the league like some of these guys. Now you don't run as much as everybody else, but even the yards per carry isn't quite up there. So I was okay with the 84 there, but like I said, for me, the team building being so low, you took the damn Colts. I mean, they're not a stacked team.
Yeah.
So,
hey,
that I like them. I think the next two, I don't know if we have who they are yet, but so I guess guys will just have to keep tuning in to find their cards.
Yeah, we're not doing it by division. I think in the past we've released articles by division or one person per division. We're just going to kind of pick and choose, and maybe we'll do it for interaction on the show or something, interaction in the comments. Who knows? Somebody comment, and maybe we'll pick a guy or two from the comments or something to kind of give them reason to interact. Maybe I just came up with that. Maybe we won't do that. Who knows? Yeah. Stay tuned.
Or comment with just who you want to see next. Maybe you don't want to see your card because you're Colt, and maybe you don't like the way it's going to look, or Gilbert.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to see somebody else.
I need to look at Gilbert's card. That'll be an interesting one. So to kind of wrap up, we have decided for the first time ever on the SML network, ever on any SML show, to consistently have the Primer Minute. This was your idea. You're the commissioner of the Primer. You love these guys. These guys are your brethren.
We'll go with like.
You tolerate these guys.
Yeah.
What are you thinking here at this one, Primer Commish?
All right. So what I was thinking was, we could have a little segment at the end where we talk about what's going on in Primer. But for this first inaugural one, I wanted to talk about two guys to watch. We've probably got a good, 4, 5, 6 guys that we could we could call up and I think would fit in. I think this year, we've called up what, five guys, maybe
Yeah.
six. I guess if you count Scoob, but he may have
He
been
left us.
our miss. I thought he was going to be a good one.
He was a good
But
one.
we called up Torque, Wine, Filthy, AJ. Well, AJ was last year. I'm probably forgetting some, but
Yeah.
Torque, Filthy, Wine. Maybe that's it.
Maybe that's what, is that it? Feels like more for some reason.
Like the whole AFC West, other than
Yeah, the whole AFC West. I don't know what QP's doing to
they
these
were
people.
gone at one point.
KP.
KP, that's right. Forgot him hiding in the AFC
Hiding in the
South.
shadows.
But I think we've had some really good success
We
calling
have.
up guys this year. And I think two guys to kind of watch is Stavo. A lot of guys know Stavo. A lot of guys may have some negative feelings about Stavo. Just been there for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I was talking to Bean the other day trying to figure out when he got there. He got there probably about the same time I got there.
Holy cow.
Yeah, he said he's been there like 4 or 5
Really?
cycles. So he's been there for a while. He's probably changed a lot from what some of these guys remember. Super active guy. Gameplay has no issues. He's always scheduling. He's probably, if you think I was bad with the advance now, trying to get people scheduled, Stavo, like he's even got me like, damn, slow down. So Stavo's a good one. I think he'll be a good addition at some point. And then, we've got other guys there that have been there for a while. But one of the guys that's newer, it's Legend Bird, Legend Larry Bird. I don't even know. He's got so many different names that depending on if it's the DM or in the PSN. But another guy that's super solid. He's in there every day. You don't see him on the inactive list. Gets his game played. Not a single person has complained about his gameplay. So I think those two guys are probably some guys to watch, but I wouldn't necessarily guarantee that they're the next two up because we've got a lot of guys maybe right behind them and on their heels. So, it just takes maybe one good run of somebody stepping up and maybe they pass them. So, definitely two guys to watch though.
There's so much that's considered too, and when we call somebody up, what's the division fit? What's the team fit? What's his personality like with, and would his personality mesh well in the SML? I mean, there's so many things. But yeah, I've noticed those two guys. There's some other guys, like you said, obviously, some long timers, noobs, a couple other guys that do a lot in primer. But that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that was guys to kind of watch in SML, the primer for the primer minute. Bomber, we're at 27 minutes. I think we had a good 4th and inches. I think we converted.
Yeah, definitely converted. And like you said, this is something we plan on continuing to do, rotating the hosts. So it's just going to get better as we go. And if guys have stuff they want to hear, leave it in the comments because we're always looking for ideas. Yeah,
seriously. If you have a segment idea or anything, put it below in the comments or message me or Bomber. Guys, SML, 4th and inches. I'm prime time. I like going for it on 4th and inches. That's half the reason I came up with the show. Other reason is our introduction song. Second reason, Mad Bomber, one of the greatest to ever do it on the SML content sphere. I'm glad we finally, first time in I think we've ever done a show together.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we may have done a total access or something once.
Yeah.
But first time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Happy Easter.